You can't go wrong with owning real estate. We typically will lap most builders. We're doing double the volume that they're doing in the same time frame. We're turning single family homes in 90 days. You're essentially making 50% of your money on the same money.
You can build a home in 90 days. I could turn my money 3 times in a year, 4 times in a year.
Yeah, 45, 50% on your money.
I'm giving you all my money. What it is, Brad Lee back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs today in the studio. Folks, as always, got a real treat for you. My boy, Brock Holyoak. What's happening?
What's up, Brad? How are you?
Folks, if you guys don't know this guy, you're going to want to follow him at Brock Holyoak, just like it sounds, Holy, Holy, Oak, O-A-K. I'm great, dude. This, for the listeners, CEO and founder of Oakmont Industries, blue-collar builder turned real estate investor, son of late contractor Kurt Holyoak, carrying on a multi-generational construction legacy. Known for raw honesty, mixing philosophy with practical business wisdom and no-fluff approach to building wealth through home ownership. And again, you know, catch him on YouTube, Brock Holyoak, or Oakmont Industries.
Oakmont Industries company YouTube, and Brock Holyoak's my personal brand.
So you've been doing it forever and a day.
I started when I was 14 doing labor work for my dad. So yeah, that was my summer job and where I learned a whole lot of words that most 14-year-olds probably don't get to learn. So
when you started, did you think it would lead to big bucks? Was your dad already making big bucks? So like you kind of saw that, I'll end up taking this over.
No, he didn't. He had a few partnerships before that kind of didn't work out. They were handshake deals. He kind of took the brunt end of the deal on a few things. So I just my deal when I started out was like I was working for him and, working by the hour. I decided, I'm going to college, tried that out for a year, went into psychology, and it's like, they say, hey man, like you can make 35 grand a year after you do your internship. And it's like, dude, I can go fucking drive trash truck and make 65 grand right now. And it's like a $2,500 CDL and not 6 years of college. So went back into the construction, just worked my way up, got to be a good foreman on the crew. And just my boss come out on the job and it's just like, seeing him, I'm like, dude, your life's better than mine. Like you're rolling in a nice pickup truck. You got nice clothes on. You got golf clubs in the back. You got a nicer life than me. You're doing something different than me, basically living paycheck to paycheck. So I kind of want what you have. And the only thing that I could tell was it's like, you own your own company. And so I need to go own mine if I want that. Right. And like,
which everybody should.
Yeah. And like I was telling Anthony though, it's like when you're on the outside looking in, it's a different view than the inside looking out because, I look back and I view my life was actually pretty cool as a 40-hour-a-week worker, right? Like I got shit done, but I had fun all the time. When you're always putting out fires, when you're always the problem solver, it's like life isn't quite as fun. So he probably didn't have as cool a life as I thought that he had, but it definitely was worth making that jump financially to have that financial freedom, on the back end. So
did you eventually say, screw this, I quit?
Yeah. So I got licensed. He was pretty cool about letting me take like Fridays off for a few months to go do some side jobs on the weekend. And then he finally just come to me and he's like, dude, you got to shit or get off the pot. Like you're either here full time or you're out. And I'm just like, well, I know I ain't going anywhere if I stay here. So it's time to be out and I'm going to basically take a chance on myself and see where we go. So
were you worried?
I had a couple jobs lined up that I'm like, if once these are done and I get paid, I've got 6 months worth of income put together on what I would have made by the hour. And so I'm like, as long as I can find something to continually replace it. And it's kind of crazy because it's like, when I started out, it's one man band, right? Like I'm doing everything by myself, pouring, finishing the whole thing, concrete. And you start out with, dude, I've got $12,000 worth of houses that I'm doing, right? And you're like, shit, I don't have $12,000 to cover this if it goes to hell. And then it all works out. And 6 months later, you're bidding $2, $3, $4 million projects. And it's like, it's kind of crazy how easy you can adapt to your surroundings, if that makes sense.
It makes sense to me. I try to tell people that all the time because you can't see it until you start opening your eyes and walking forward. I always say it's like kind of walking in the fog. You know, if you're looking 50 feet away, you can't see where you're going. But can you see a couple feet in front of your feet? And you go, yeah. Well, then take a few steps. Yeah. And then can you look down, see some more? Yep. And so people don't have to, but guys like me, guys like you, we took a risk. We weren't too worried about it because you knew you could go get a damn job if you had to. That was my thing. It was like, I can always go back to the car business, go sell something. I'm not worried about it. So I jumped when most people won't start their own business.
Well, I think so. I was 21 or 22 when I got licensed, and then I think 22 when I finally decided like, hey, this is what I'm going to do full time. I'm going all in. And I think there's a little bit to be said about being young and a go-getter and stupid, because it's like when you're clueless to how things work, it's like you just jump in and figure it out. Like you've got enough piss and vinegar to just motor through everything and make shit work, make shit happen. So where I think like, if you're like a little bit older, like I'm in my 40s now, and it's like, I look at things a little bit more cautiously. It's like, I don't want to go to zero again, because I've done that and it sucks. Like we built a multi-million-dollar company and 2008 hit and went to zero. And I'm living in a metal storage unit, trying to scrape my way back up and rebuild a business from zero, which
but you
we
did it. So see, what were you so worried about?
We can do it, right? But it's like, did that in my 30s. It's like mid 40s. I don't know. I want to go to zero again and try it again. You know what I mean? Like I want to be, I pay a little bit more attention to what I'm doing and have some backup plans, I guess, if that makes sense. So.
Well, it does, but here's the danger that people fall into with that mindset. You go from basically abundance, fuck it, what's the worst that can happen? I'll figure it out. No big deal. And you roll the dice, which gets you to, multi-million-dollar company. And then something like COVID or some bullshit that's like, no way is that normal happens. And now you go to zero, you build it up again. And now you're gun shy. So now your abundance, fuck it all mindset is actually more based in scarcity and worry and fear and doubt and it's there's wisdom in being a little more cautious because you've learned some things, but at the end of the day you don't also want to get so afraid of broke that you don't take any risk, because sometimes the risk is the payoff.
Oh yeah, everything's always beneficial in retrospect, right? Like everything is pricey and expensive and, a huge risk in the moment, but it's always, in hindsight or retrospect is when you look back and you're like, dude, I did something cool with that, I'm glad I did that.
Or thank God that happened.
Yeah.
So that's what I'd say, because dude, now you don't have shit to worry about. You build houses faster than anybody.
So my deal with like the safety is, right, like I have a price point that I like to stay in. So like right now I've got one that's pushing close to $1 million, which is out of my comfort zone, because if all hell breaks loose and I don't sell that, it's going to be a hard one to rent. If I stay in that 400 to 500 range, then I can, worst case, roll that into a rental for a year or two. Like I've got a backup plan, right? Like I can roll it into a long-term loan and we can use it as a rental. So do I make money on it? No, but I have an asset that's sitting there, and when it does sell, we can capitalize there, but I'm not losing money. So mine's more strategy, have like always one or two exit plans rather than just the one exit plan. So we're still moving forward. We're still cranking the volume as much as we can. It's just, I like to always have that secondary play for worst case scenario.
So why do you think that you guys can build so much quicker than other builders?
Dude, I spent 10 years just dialing the process in. Like we talked an hour ago, it's like I hand delivered checks to all my subcontractors every time it was payday. Like I would drive around, physically hand them a check and bullshit with them for 5 to 10 to 15 minutes at a time. And it took a huge amount of my time doing that, but building that relationship, when I got in a bind and I needed something done now, it's like I could make that phone call and it was almost a guarantee that somebody would show up when I needed them to show up.
Yeah, relationships critical. So your relationships are probably better than most.
So yeah, and you talk about, like, a lot of people talk about like team culture, and it's like, well, you've got in-house, like with construction, you've got an in-house team, and then you have subcontractors that are out, kind of out of your doors type deal. But it's like, if you can treat them like they're your employees and they feel like they're, part of you, then having that relationship and always being grateful that, tell them, hey man, you did a good job. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that goes a long ways, rather than, hey, go to the office, pick your check up, or hey, we just mailed it out. Mailbox checks are nice to get, but there's no person behind that. You don't get that personal element. And I think that personal element's kind of what creates that bond with you, to be able to have people that go into battle with you.
Yeah. How big's your crew?
Yeah, my in-house team, probably 4 or 5 people.
But I mean, how many crews can you, like right now, if I just said, hey, I got 100 million lottery win, I want to
100 million
build some houses. How many people can you swing?
We could do single family homes. We could do 70, 80 homes a year. Multifamily, we could probably crank 100 to 130 units. And
what would it take a normal contractor?
Well, this is something we could do in a year with just the small crew that we have, the 5 in-house people that we have for project management stuff. We're turning single family homes, some mid-level custom homes, in 90 days is our typical build schedule. We typically will lap most builders. Like they'll do 1 to R2. So we're doing double the volume that they're doing in the same time frame.
Do they ever wonder how the hell you're doing it so fast?
They ask, but it's just like, we just have it dialed. I'm disorganized. If you go in my office, there's shit everywhere. There's papers everywhere. And my wife comes in and cleans it up. And it's like, what the fuck did you do with that? Like, well, how did you even know where it was at? It's like, it was in this pile over here. So I'm like organized chaos in my life, but my jobs are dialed. Like, it's like, and I'm pretty intense with the schedules. It's like, if you're off a day, like, it's a problem, right? Because one day on a 90-day build, you start adding a couple 1 days up and now you're off a week. So like, I'm pretty intense on like, get these guys here. Why aren't they here? Well, I'll call them in a minute. No, I don't want you to call them when you get to the next job. I want you to call them right now. They were supposed to be here this morning. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. Why the fuck aren't they here? Call them, find out when they're going to be here. And it's just staying on top of it and making sure that's a priority, that I think is the difference between us and other builders. It's like, oh, I'm off a day. Okay, that's cool. Like, that works. And then all of a sudden that day turns into 3, and then 3 turns into 8, and just rolls to where it's like, well, we had intentions to build at a 90-day build schedule, but now we're 140.
Well then, if I were looking at you as an investment opportunity, because I'm sure you'd take investments.
Yeah.
I mean, you are you looking for people to throw money in and let you build faster, quicker, stronger than everybody else?
We're always looking for that. Like our plan is to basically evolve. Like the main, I guess, objective of Oakmont Industries is to be a mile deep and a mile wide. So that's the vision that we have. So what we want to do is kind of create this intertwining network of builders and investors and tradespeople that can come in and be part of this bigger ecosystem that'll allow us to do bigger volume, more development stuff. We can get to a level to where we're doing, Class A apartment properties. We can go in and do multifamily. We can do motels, hotels. We can do uh, exclusive for rent single family communities and bring in the investors, but being able to intertwine all of this stuff. And our goal is to try to bring every aspect of the building in-house. Like we've already kind of started phasing a few of the trades in, but I want to phase every aspect of building in-house so that we own start to finish. Like we own the mortgage company, we own the title company, we own the insurance company, we own the real estate brokerage, we own all aspects of the subtrade, everything in-house. What that's going to allow us to do with the bigger side of the investment is we can cut costs in areas to build these bigger deals, and now they're more lucrative for everyone.
So are you looking for LPs, GPs?
LPs, GPs, both.
So if someone's listening to this, maybe they got their license, but they want to because if I'm listening to this, I'm thinking, well, dude, if you can build a home in 90 days, I could turn my money 3 times in a year, 4 times in a year.
Yeah. And that's the goal. So if you're coming in, taking down a lot, or you're coming in doing like a construction loan on a project, our goal is to every 4 months, try to turn that money. So if you're coming in and we've got a deal where you're making 12, 15% on the deal, the goal is to turn that 3 times a year. So now that 12% goes to 36, that 15% goes to 45. So, on a 15% return, you're essentially making 50% of your money on the same money.
So if there's listeners going, dude, I got $100,000, I'll buy a lot, you'll build on it, and then 4 months later, I get my 15% back. I either take my money and run, or I say, here, take it again, because I'll do that again.
Take it again.
And now you'll do it again. And I don't have to do nothing but give you 100 G's.
And all you got to do is move it from one to the other to the other. And at some point, I think maybe it makes sense, because that is going to be subject to capital gains. It's like, if you do enough of it, like we have structures in place where it's like, why don't you just buy this one with the money that you made, buy the lot on it, use that as your down payment on the property. We'll build you a house at a discounted rate, and now you keep that as a rental, and you can use that as tax strategy to offset your taxes.
You know, all those techniques?
All the techniques, DSCR loans, all of it.
So you don't look like someone that would know all this shit. You look like the foreman.
I look like the dumb meathead. Yeah, that's usually what I get. But
well, you look like the boss on the job site, running around with a tool belt and fixing what the dipshits broke. You don't look like the mastermind.
Dude, I wear a suit. You saw me in a suit the other day. I make it look pretty damn good, but it's just not my thing. I don't live in the area where everybody runs around in suits. Like, this is just how I dress on a daily basis, cut off sleeve t-shirts.
Hey, and that's another thing. You're in upper or lower southern Utah, mostly Mesquite, Nevada, things like that.
Mesquite, Cedar City. Yeah.
So these areas are little pockets nobody really knows about either, but they're growing. Cedar City's growing.
They're growing. We're starting to get some of the bigger builders come into the area. They're starting to get a little bit of notice, but
because they know what's cracking up there.
There's still little sleeper towns, and we still have a pretty good hold of the market to where we can get in there, and we know our clientele in those markets. We know what product these people want. So,
isn't there a hub of some kind going in there?
They have the inland port going in Cedar City. So Iron County, I think, will have quite a bit of growth. It's just when they're actually going to start officially building that out, because they do have a 215 expressway for that exclusively, is why they're building that. And I think once they start building that 215 out, then you're going to start seeing more of those warehouses get built in that inland port area. There's a few of them going right now. I think there's BZI is a big company. They're building like a 50 or 75,000 square foot manufacturing onload, offload,
which requires homes for workers.
So yeah, you're going to have homes for workers. You'll have, I think, Cedar's going to be an area for smaller single family homes, because, when you get into our area is rural, right? Like, it's more of a suburban rural area. So I think if people can swing a single family home. They'd rather have a single family home than they would a townhome or a duplex where they have to share walls. They kind of want their space. And right now we're delivering probably the best price product. We can hit 1,500 square foot, 3-bed, 2-bath, 2-car garage for under $400,000 right now.
In 90 days.
In 90 days.
So that's the crazy part.
Everybody else
days?
is sitting $420,000, $430,000 for that same product.
And how long?
And they're 5 months minimum.
Yeah, so twice as long.
So they're about twice as long.
So if you had an unlimited budget, you could build entire neighborhoods faster than anybody up there.
Yes, sir.
Is it possible that you overbuild?
I think there's a possibility of that. So it's one of those that you have to manage it. Like you have to know when enough is enough. Like you can't just go say, because we have the money to build 400 homes, let's go build them. You know what I mean?
You would think, see, that's the mistake I would make. Because worst case scenario, what? No one buys them? Well, dude, with the growth up there, and not only that, like it's nice up there.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's these little undiscovered spots that I think have a 5-year, boom before they start, kind of slowing down. If they're building that hub up there.
The hub will bring, that's the thing though, is it's like, do they start building that a year, 2 years from now? Is it 10 years out? Like that's kind of everybody's, well, when is it going to happen?
Well,
kind of
doesn't someone know?
No, nobody will give you an answer. So that's
why.
I mean, there's a few people that are building their buildings now, but there's just not, like, it hasn't made a lot of traction quite yet. So I think when it does, it's like, dude, you're going to have 10,000, like you're going to have a demand for 10,000 people, because it's going to bring outside workers in. It's going to bring, even local families that are living, younger kids that are living with their parents right now. It's like, hey, we finally got us a good job. We can justify going out and buying a starter home. So it's going to open up that opportunity when that comes in and takes effect. It's just, is it going to take effect in the next year? Is it going to be 5 years?
So did you realize you were going to freaking be crushing it when you jumped out on your own, or were you were you worried about it?
My mindset was, like I said, I had a few jobs lined up to where I know that if I go do these 2 jobs, I'm going to have enough money in the bank off of that to float me for the next 6 months. And so it's just like, I just have to find something between now and the next 6 months to fill it so that I'm not in a worse position than I was paycheck to paycheck. And it's quick how, I guess it's kind of amazing how quick things roll and you can accumulate once you start getting that traction.
What do you think you're doing different than when your dad was doing it? Like, was he just as fast? If he was a competitive company right now, would you kick his ass or no?
Probably, because he was more of the guy that liked to be in the field. He wasn't the guy that liked to do the unsexy stuff. Like the fun part was being in the field for 6, 7, 8 hours a day and just doing the grind. Like that's what he liked doing. He didn't like doing the runaround stuff. He didn't like having to put the fires out. He didn't like having to do, paperwork and all of the boring shit. His was more like, let's go crank out 6 or 7 good hard hours and then go drink beer the rest of the night. Like that was his. He was a pretty good drunk. So he would drink anywhere between an 18 pack and a 24 pack of beer every night. That was his deal. He was a functioning alcoholic, and I kind of fell into that for a few years. And then it's like, dude, like I got to get the hell out of this. Cause it's like, you can't, one thing with alcohol is it allows you to be creative and come up with some awesome ideas, but you don't have the motivation to go see them through. And it's like, so what good are the ideas if I can't capitalize on them, if I'm not moving the needle forward to, work towards that?
What kind of ideas?
Just new businesses, just different ideas and the directions that I wanted to go with different companies. And so when I finally just stepped back and it's like, okay, let's get completely out of this scene and, just focus on the things I need to do, which is grow the company and build the company.
So just for people that may be thinking, hey, dude, I'll put some money in this deal. What are you looking to build? Just single family, or are you looking to build multifamily?
Single family, multifamily. We can do apartment complexes. We can do commercial projects. I don't like doing, we can do fully custom homes. I generally don't like doing them because those are stuff that you're tied to for a long period of time. I'm more of turn them.
Get in and get out.
Like I know my product. And so it's like, I know how to turn that in 90 days. When
we're talking build and sell.
Build.
What if they don't sell? Does it take longer to sell them, or are you just building them?
We're building them in 90 days. So sales point, like if I'm building them for a client, it's like done, C of O, they can move in essentially 90 days. So if we're building them a spec, it's like, sometimes they, sometimes it's not a perfect world, and sometimes it's, 4 months before they're under contract, and, a couple more weeks before they close.
What's your average home price in Cedar City versus Mesquite?
So Cedar right now, we're trying to stay in that 395 to 450 range. Mesquite's kind of more that 425 to 475 range.
And what kind of margins are you hitting with the tariffs and all the shit that's going on?
Surprisingly, the tariffs haven't really impacted it quite as much as like the interest rates have. So the interest rates staying in those mid sixes has kind of been more of like where we're losing the profit margins. A year ago, I think we were hitting pretty consistent about 25% margins. Right now we're in that 20 to 21%.
That's still good.
And it's still good. It's just a lot of it's like we're having to give incentives. We're having to do, pay closing costs, or having to do extra add-on things, out of pocket to get the deals to close. And
boo-hoo.
It's part of business, right? Like DR Horton's talked about it. They're doing it. Lennar's doing it. It's just still the cost of business, right?
Yeah. And not only that, it's like, dude, listen, if I can turn $1 billion and make 8%, when I was doing it before and making, 80%, 8% of $1 billion is still 8% of $1 billion. The question is, people are working, you're contributing to the economy, families are getting fed. You know what I mean? Like, to me, it's like, hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
When the market changes and you don't have to do it anymore, you just make a little more. But 20%, I'd take that in a heartbeat, especially if you can do it faster. Because if I invest with this guy and he's building it in 6 months, I invest with you, I'm building it in 2 months. Let's say you're both paying me 15% on my money. Well, I could knock out 2 on the same money with you versus him. So with you, even though you're both giving me 15%, I end up with 30% from you because I turned the money twice.
Turned it twice, yeah.
Well, that's a reason to invest with you rather than other people.
Yes, sir.
Do you raise money now a lot or no?
I have some right now. We've kind of capped it with some people, but we've got about 6 investors right now that's come in, and we've got about 12 deals going with other investors right now coming in, taking down lots. So but you're not out there actively and aggressively like a lot of the real estate guys I know. They're seeking money. They're raising a bunch of money. We haven't been out there like beating down doors. It's just kind of, hey, we've got this product. It's like, oh yeah, I'll buy 3 lots or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like we're actively out there looking for it, but right now we're hitting, I think this year we're going to hit about 30 homes in Mesquite and Cedar. And so the goal is to double that next year and then double again after that. So we are moving into next year. We're definitely looking for, larger capital to come in and fund the deals and start cranking out more volume. Well, I got people listening that obviously have interest in making money. And it sounds like this is an opportunity. Where would those people inquire if they're somewhat interested in talking to you about throwing you some dough? So you've got my phone number you can throw up. Yeah. You want to give me your phone number? I don't care. Throw it out there. It's going to be an office phone number anyway at some point. So throw my phone number out there. You call me direct. I don't care. Well, just tell them. It's 435-632-0202. So if someone's listening to this,
I mean, I know you're not out there doing it aggressively, so there's probably not, answers to all these things, but I'd be thinking, so if I gave you $100,000 or $50,000, is there a minimum?
Not necessarily minimum. I think it just,
because you don't have like a hedge fund.
No, we don't have a hedge fund. So like if the way we've structured it, if you're coming in and taking down lots, is you go into a debt position because the debt gets paid before the equity. So like I'm in the equity position, you come in the debt position. So in the event that we do the construction loan and the bank has to take it back, you'll get paid before I get paid on the property. So it secures it, makes it more of a secure loan for the person coming in with the money. And
well, that's freaking nice of you.
Yeah.
Most people don't do that.
No, and we do it because it's like, I don't want turnover. I don't want to get in there and get 100 guys that invest and then 100 new guys and 100 new guys. You know what I mean? Like
you're just looking for a few solid dudes. We just
want some solid people that's going to come in and they like the product and it makes sense to them and they just want to continue to turn their money with us.
And you're not looking for a bunch of them either. So whoever's thinking about it right now, you might want to like execute, because it sounds like it's not unlimited.
No, it's not unlimited. Like we're not just trying to raise a bunch of capital and fund nonsense stuff. Like it's strategic and it's purposeful. So,
well, as I'm listening to you, I mean, I might throw in a little bit, because I'll get it back 90 days. I love that. Let's say 4 months, worst case. I could turn it 3 times a year. So normally, like I gave my boy 100 G's.
Yeah.
I get $166 a month. Now I did it just so he'd quit asking, and whatever, dude, here. But in reality, I could give you $100,000. 3 months later, get $15,000, which is $5,000 a month. Let you keep it, which by the way, my $100,000's been gone for years and it'll be gone for years more, but it ain't turning every quarter. It's freaking just gone. So like with you, I could have gave you 100 G's. You'd have gave me 15 G's 3 months later, said, you want to do it again? I say, yeah. 15 G's 3 months later, want to do it again? Yeah. And so on. So at the end of the year, I would have made 60 G's.
You'd have made 45, 50% on your money. Yeah.
Well, if it was every 90 days, I know. And by the way, folks, you obviously everything isn't exact, but it's rough. And call him if you're interested in talking. And that's 100% up to you guys. Like I don't get a piece if you invest with him. So there's no financial incentive for me. I'm just sitting here thinking as me, I'd give you $100,000, especially because it's back in 90 days. Yeah. All I got to do is trust you. And not only that, you're only an hour or two from here. I'll drive up and see it myself. So, but to me, I'm thinking if I give you 100 G's versus other people, it's really not, 15% of my money. Why? Well, because usually it's 15% for the year. I was supposed to get 6% annual on that $100,000.
Yeah.
You're talking,
so you're getting 15% per project. So the more projects we can turn, the more return that you make.
Yeah. So if you like take on a few people that'll throw constant money, you can't offer it to unlimited people is my point.
Yeah.
So that's urgency for people listening, because you'll take on a few.
We'll take on a few, but we're not taking everyone.
And is there any minimum? Like, hey, if you don't want to do $100,000, don't bother, or because I can't just say, hey, I got $9,000, I'll give you.
Yeah, $9,000 isn't gonna do it. It'll have to be closer to that $100,000 is typically pretty close to what the lot costs are.
What about 250s? Like 2 people throw 50-50.
Well, you could do that. Yeah, we could write the trust deeds with 2 people on there to where it's like you're splitting the cost and
I'm in the debt position, which means I get paid first no matter what.
So you get paid first. So the house closes, you're the first one to get paid out.
So if the only risk I have, well, not the only, but the only risk, I mean, hurricanes, acts of God, blah, 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 blah. But I'm talking about in general, the only risk I have is the house doesn't sell. That's it. And then I just wait until it does. But yeah. I'm getting paid. Do I have a lien on that property?
You'll have a lien on the property to where you're the first one to get paid.
So no matter what happens, as long as that house sells, I'm getting paid.
You're getting paid. Yeah.
See, dude, that's freaking good. So are you able to do 3-4 turns a year with my money?
That's the goal. Right now, I think 3's doable. 4's probably not. But I think if you can get 2 to 3, that's still a great turn. It's just one of those, like, we're kind of at the mercy of the market on how quick people are buying. So,
Yeah, but dude, with that hub coming up there, bro, you're going to have some demand.
yeah, you'll have demand, and you have a pretty good sweet spot with where I'm at price point wise. I think we're in a very competitive price point.
How nice are they?
Pretty nice.
I mean, because you can build some nice looking shit that doesn't have to be expensive. It's just nowadays, like, just design wise.
Well, design wise, so all of our plans, like, I spend a long time designing the smaller I actually had a builder walk through my house in Mesquite last week, and he called me. He's like, dude, this is awesome. He's like, you walk it. How big is it? I'm like, 1695. He's like, dude, it looks like it's 2,000 feet. And I'm like, I know. Like, if you design the plan right, then it looks bigger than it is, right? And how you do the vaults, how you do, the ceiling changes and stuff like that, all gives it a bigger look. So there's a lot of purpose in the plans that we put out.
You're like an artisan builder.
Kind of, and like we've been trying to build in features. So, you can go put in a wall of cabinets in your entertainment center. It's going to cost you 15, 20 grand to do that. You're going to have 15, 20 grand worth of value. Well, if we go in and we put in little lighted insets in the drywall and we put in some marble backdrops and stuff behind them, it's a couple grand, but it delivers you $10,000 worth of value. So just
all those tricks,
stupid little things like that you're just like, that draws somebody's eyes. And it's like, that looks cool.
Like that wall.
Yeah. Just like little accents that you're just like, oh, that gives it
luxury
unique
feel.
Yeah. Unique, more luxurious feel than just a box.
Yeah. Or like nowadays you see air conditioning vents that aren't those slats that you see.
Mm-hmm.
They're now like 2 long strips, all flush. You know what I mean? Or those lights, like underlighting in a cabinet where you flip on the light and there's a glowing light. Little things that they're like, it's just a freaking light, but placed right. It's accent lighting and it's gorgeous, and dimmers and like. But doesn't that drive up cost eventually?
Some of the stuff, like, you got to be careful with what you're putting in what product. It's like if you're doing a higher price point house, you can kind of afford to put a little bit more bells and whistles on it. If you're doing base grade, it's, we were putting a lot of gas fireplace in our product, and it got to a point where, one, a lot of people, like the younger generation, didn't really want the gas fireplace, and it's an extra $5,000, And so it's like, well, to keep the costs, when prices inflate, to keep the costs the same, if I've got $5,000 worth of more material cost, it's like, well, if I eliminate that fireplace, now we can still sell the same product at the same price point, minus the fireplace, but nobody knew that there wasn't a fireplace there to begin with.
Why don't you just do wood burning?
You can do wood burning, yes, but again, not too many people are like me where they think chopping logs is fun, right? Like,
yeah, but you can buy cords of wood, dude. Wood burning fireplace, where I was from, Oregon, that was like a plus.
Yeah.
They didn't want the gas. They wanted the wood burning fireplace.
It's the mess. A lot of my clientele are retirees. So I get, 55 and older would be probably 85% of my clientele. So, and then the younger Gen Z, it's like, man, I don't want to do stairs. I don't want to cut wood. I don't want to do anything. I just want to walk in there and push a button and have everything work.
Yeah.
So,
well, like certain designs, I don't know, because I'm not a builder, how much more it is, but like when you look up in a ceiling and you see, like, I don't know what even they call that, like a design ceiling, where, for example, it looks like a normal ceiling, but part of it comes down and then inside there's lights, and now the ceiling has
like
a glow.
Kind of a coffered look.
Yeah,
with some inset lighting and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know how much more it is to make it that way, but like that's the shit that's going to make the house pop. Like that wall would not look the same if I didn't have someone come in and put those lights in. But the lights weren't that much. But look at the difference.
Yeah.
Now that's a LED wall, right? Well, those are expensive. So maybe backlit image would have been just suffice, but look how great it looks.
It's just what you're after and what your price point is. So it's kind of one of those where if you're on a budget, you don't want to break the bank. And so putting over costly upgrades in that aren't going to return you value is kind of pointless, right? If you're getting a 1-to-1 value on your return, like why do it in the first place? Like if you're going to spend 20 grand on cabinets or a $10,000 upgrade on granite, in a way, but it's like cedar market and mesquite market is pretty price driven. And so it's like, for most buyers, if you're like, this is a $2,500 upgraded granite job, dude, I was cool with base grade, like I don't care that it was $2,500. I'm not paying you $2,500 for it because we don't see the value.
Well, I thought people just buy the price. Like how much is this house?
They
200 grand.
They buy the price in and of itself, you know what I mean? They do buy the price, but like if you were trying to sell them, it's like, well, I'm charging an extra $3,000 because this is, $3,500 worth of.
Yeah, but you act like the house next door is exactly like they want for 3,000 less. Nobody thinks like that, do they?
So yeah, you'd be surprised on how many people's like, I could do without that if it's going to save me $30 on my mortgage a month.
Really?
Yeah.
See, to me, I'm the opposite. I walk in, I go, dude, this place is gorgeous. This place is a dump. One's 200, one's 210. I'm taking the 210.
But you know where you see the value for yourself and what you're after, right? Like a lot of people is, like I said, it's just super price driven. So if you have $60 HOA on there, people might be leery of buying in that subdivision because it's an extra $60 a month.
Yeah. Do you have to factor in all that?
That's just kind of comes with a lot of the areas that we build don't have HOAs. I do have like one or two areas that have, $20, $30 a month HOA, which haven't so far been a huge deal, but you start charging $100 a month and people are like, that's, $100 a month to most people is a big, big deal.
So are you just up there making all this money yourself if you don't have a bunch of investors right now? You're just doing it yourself?
I've got a few investors, but yeah, so far we've just been turning our own money. So yeah, I've been essentially just making the rewards for the most part in-house.
What do you think the hardest part was?
The hardest part of what?
Building it up to where now you got it down. Because ultimately, again, the way you do the roofs, the way you do this, the fact that you can build 2 houses as fast as they can build one, like all of that. What was the hardest part to get to that? Because now, dude, you got the advantage. Like when you go to seek investors, dude, everybody wants to invest in real estate, but why you as opposed to everybody else that would take it? Well, he builds his 3 times faster. You get paid 3 times a year as opposed to once with them. His product is the sells quicker because he knows the right shit and the right look to do things. Like you have the advantage. How did you get there? Well,
so I think we kept everything scaled back so that we could dial in the process. So it's like 5 years ago, we could have been, 50, 60, 70 homes a year. But then my process isn't dialed and everybody's pissed off because you're trying to sell them on 90-day build schedules and it's taking you 120 days. And nothing's organized, nothing's set in stone. It's like, I think we just spent the time up front to dial everything in at the smaller scale. And then as we started cranking the volume, it's like everything's in place and it just falls in place and follows suit.
So when it comes back to these tariffs, because my team wrote a couple notes I wanted to talk about. So like, let's say I throw you $100,000 and all of a sudden Trump pops a new tariff and now your plans are screwed. What happens to me?
So far, I haven't seen anything crazy out of the tariff side of things. Like the stuff that's gone up goes up. They've been with the supply houses, they've been pretty good at like sending out letters in advance on things that are going up. We're, there's certain tiles that we put in that are increasing. Our appliances kind of continually go up a couple $100 every few months. So just stuff like that, but it's nothing like over the top to where it's like, oh, we've got a additional $100,000 expense because of these tariffs, right? Like it's a couple $1,000s and we can manage it and motor through it. And
so just eat out of your profit.
We'll just eat it out of the profit. Yeah.
You seem like the dude everybody buys from up there because everybody trusts you.
Yeah, we try to make it right with everybody. Like I mean, if we have a good working relationship while I build your house, like I'll come back 2 years later and fix shit that I probably shouldn't fix. Now, if you're the dickhead that is always complaining about everything, it's like I'll do what I need to do to get the warranties done, but it's like I'm not gonna bend over backwards for you because you treated me like shit for 3 months while we built. Like I'm not gonna make a special trip to come over and go above and beyond. But for the people that are down to earth and cool, it's like we'll take care of you. Like you got something wrong that's not a warranty thing. It's like we'll go fix it. No big deal. It took me an hour and $50 worth of parts. It's like we'll go fix it.
Just to preserve the brand.
And it's
are these called
we have that
Oakmont
relationship.
Homes or like?
Yeah, Oakmont Industries is the company, but yeah, Oakmont Homes.
But I mean, like, that's an Oakmont product. You keep calling it products, so like that's an Oakmont product or that's an Oakmont neighborhood. Is that what they call them?
So yeah, we're not to we've got 4 or 5 subdivisions that we're buying lots in right now, but we're trying to build to that level to where we can do exclusive builder subdivisions. It's kind of where we're at. So I think this next year, if we can double, then we're at that level now to where it's like we can go out and do a 40 or 50 lot subdivision.
Well, dude, I'm going to get to know you better and I'm going to freaking get some of my buddies and we're going to do something.
Let's do it.
Well, you can build them faster, bro, and quality and keep the cost down. Worst case scenario, it doesn't sell. And so people wait another month.
Yeah.
And I'm just worried about when we're done there because you found a little honey spot or a honey pot, I should say. But eventually, there's enough homes there. It's not as good anymore. How do you go find another little honey hole?
They're out there. You just find them. I don't think it's going to dry up. Like I think you might see, if anything, you might see a little bit of a decline for a few months, but I don't think you're ever going to see that area as desirable as it is right now.
But if we raised a bunch of money and you went and built 1,000 homes,
if you go build 1,000 homes in a year, yeah, you're probably oversaturated the market. And so that's why I said with like the management side of it, it's like, and why we don't want to take on everybody's money, right? It's like, well, we can only build so much before I see that we're going over that threshold to where we're competing against ourselves. Like we have so much product on the market that now we're not just competing against other builders, we're competing against ourselves.
Yeah. So I always think scale. So I'm trying to figure out how do I get you $1 trillion and we just go take over the freaking market. But it can't be in Cedar City and Mesquite. Like you have to venture out and find these other little holes. Cause I mean, dude, think about how big this country is. There's little towns that nobody knows about where people are moving in or would move in if it was, developing, and you don't know this, but such and such is moving there and the freeway's coming over there. And like those little pockets, those little towns are gold mines if someone can find them.
Yeah.
If you live there and you just, I live there, so that's how I knew. But if someone could figure out, hey, how do I know where to go build next? Now you can scale that thing.
Well, and that might be kind of part of your listeners. It's like, you guys got land, right? Like, do you have land in your area that's desirable enough to where we can go blow out 100 lot subdivision? We can go put, a commercial building on there. We can go do Class A apartment buildings. Like, let's do it.
So really that's just saying, hey, if there's any listeners that have land and or no little, cool small towns that have the ability, but no builders.
So we own 30 rental properties in Indiana, and that area is actually gaining some traction. Like, I know it's unsexy Indiana, right? But it's like they're cranking. There's a few towns there that have pretty high income earners, and they have a demand for homes. So it's just having somebody that's in the area that can have eyes on the product, the properties, and then trying to make it make sense. Like it's a little hard for me right now. Like I would make the trek back there and I would set up a full-time crew there to build through them if the numbers made sense. Whatever it is, 1,500 miles away, 1,800 miles away, it's a long trek from Utah to Indiana, and spend the time that I need to spend to really dial in where to build. So if I've got people that are feet are already on the ground and they understand that market, it's like, find it, let's figure out how much we can acquire it for, and let's see if we can make it make sense.
Dude, I got a lot of real estate investors that follow the show. So you might get a lot of calls for that right there. What was the phone number again?
It's 435-632-0202.
Can't believe you gave that out.
Don't be sending dick pics or anything like that. Like I don't want to see it.
you probably just got some just for no one was thinking that until you said it. So what about a youngster listening? Because you notice how many youngsters have dough from digital this and digital that. But why would a youngster throw $100,000 your way as opposed to Bitcoin?
I don't know that they probably would. I mean, you invest in what you know. I don't know Bitcoin. So to me, like,
you don't have any Bitcoin?
I don't have any Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin, like personally, I think Bitcoin's going to be one of those rug pulls where it's like, hey, gotcha. Right. Like
that's what they've been saying for a long time.
You trade me $100,000 worth of real money and I'll send you a holographic image on a computer screen. Right. So to me, it's like, I haven't been able to make it make sense. I look at it like if you're trading it as a stock, it makes sense. But if you think it's going to be the next world currency, I think you're going to be disappointed.
Well, first of all, what you described wasn't Bitcoin. What you described was an NFT. And I never believed those either.
Yeah.
Yeah, a non-fungible token. That's the hologram and the monkey pictures, and that was stupid. I can't believe people fell for that. But the Bitcoin, dude, it ain't going anywhere.
Yeah.
Bitcoin ain't going anywhere. Unless, of course, the government gets involved and like it's now flat out outlawed. Well, it's still going to have value. But I don't know why you don't think it might be a world currency. And it's not Bitcoin per se, it's the blockchain.
Yeah.
The blockchain is what you got to go look at, because a blockchain is basically a link of computers all over. You don't know which ones they are. Your computer at home could be part of the blockchain. You don't even realize it. And ultimately, it's a ledger that cannot be changed or screwed with. And it's like honest, lifelong record of something. So like right now, there's property in the United States where the deed is questioned because of the chain of custody, and the records were burnt up in an old city hall fire. And like there are literal lots of land right now that have no clear ownership. And if you knew where they were, you could walk up and say, it's fucking mine.
Yeah.
But again, because there's no ownership, driver's licenses, it's all going to the blockchain. And if there's a blockchain, well, then there's Bitcoin. So I don't think Bitcoin's going anywhere. And I also don't think it'll be a world currency. I think it's already that way. Like when you use your debit card, right? Mm-hmm. You go to the bank and use cash everywhere you go?
No.
Okay, so when you go over to Lowe's and buy 10 grand worth of shit, you swipe a card and 10 grand goes from your account to their account, right?
Yeah.
Wrong. Nothing happens. Not one fucking dollar moves anywhere. Records change. Yeah. That's it. It's a record. Digital.
It's a number on a computer screen.
That's all it is, dude. The money don't move. There's no such thing as the money. The bank freaking loans way more money than it has. Like it exists. It doesn't even exist. It's like paper. It's crap. The only thing that matters is the digital record. Well, that's all Bitcoin is. Like, what's a Bitcoin? You ever grabbed one? No, it's a digital record. But what's the difference? This digital record can't be fucked with. That bank can be fucked with. And when you want to send money to Bangladesh or frickin' Los Angeles, wiring money costs so much money, takes internationally sometimes takes days. Digital currency, seconds for free. Well, next to free.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, dude, it's going full digital. There will be a time where cash is not ever even seen or used. And when that happens, dude, it's these blockchains and these XRP Ripple, networks that are moving it all and keeping track of it all. And that's where it's going. It's not about cash, like, or digital, because it's already digital.
Mm-hmm.
Your bank account's just a bunch of numbers, bro. Go in there and try to get your money out and see what they tell you. You know what they'll tell you? What do you want it for?
Yeah.
You got to answer questions, and then they won't even give it to you. And if you really demand it, well, then they'll take a week to get the money together.
Pull it from every branch that they have around to be able to put it together to make it.
Yeah, banks are records, bro. But here's what I would say. I would say
sold me on Bitcoin then. So, I haven't heard. I really haven't heard it explained that way. So.
Well, I got Bitcoin when it was $600, and it went up, and I'm like, oh, and it's going down. And I was listening to all the idiots, and so I sold most of them. I wasn't a fool. I made money, but like, if I'd have just kept the Bitcoin that I had in my possession, and still had it today, it would be worth, I don't even know. I think I did the math once, like $60 million, just 60 million. But some people say it'll go to 1 million. Everyone's like, never will. Bullshit. It won't. The question is how long will it take? It will get that far. Unless, again, some crazy shit happens. But this ain't a Bitcoin show. It's a real estate show. So what I would have said if I were in your shoes is, why would a young man give you $100,000 to get Bitcoin? Well, number one, you should always get Bitcoin. But Bitcoin doesn't usually go up 15% a quarter. It already did. Like, you kind of going to have to wait a little longer, but Bitcoin is probably the highest ROI ever of anything, the appreciation. So to me, my answer would have been, dude, you throw $100,000 at a house, you put the interest, basically the 15K or whatever you're making every quarter, buy Bitcoin with that, throw the $100,000, because Bitcoin's not throwing off 15K on $100,000.
You would use the interest that you made on the $100,000 investment.
Go buy Bitcoin.
Go buy Bitcoin. So the other kind of interesting thing with real estate versus all your other assets too is, say you're buying $100,000 worth of Bitcoin, it's $100,000 for $100,000 in value, right? With real estate, if you're going to go buy a house, so let's say you're going to go buy something that's a long-term property, you can trade $100,000 for a $400,000 property. So you can use the bank. You can leverage the bank's money to buy a bigger asset. So in turn, like, you get more value out of that and can build it quicker, if that makes sense.
Good point. Yeah, that's a great point. So last question. You're building homes. You're a construction company. You're also a real estate investor. You say you're teaching people about wealth through real estate. Who are you teaching?
Anybody that cares.
You mean
young kids? I'm like,
but where do you teach them? Like a podcast or something?
We haven't, just kind of local kids right now that have desire to do it. Like, we created the Real Talk with Brock, so I'm going to put out some podcasts coming into next year. We have plans to do probably every quarter. We're going to do events in either Cedar or St. George or Mesquite, where we put together, some investment strategies for younger kids, really kind of get them a little bit more leveled up on how it works, how your loans work, how the debts work.
Going in early.
Different levels to pull. So
that's good. Why? What makes you so passionate about helping kids?
I mean, you can't go wrong with owning real estate. Like real estate's,
especially when you're starting young.
the real estate's always going to appreciate. And it's, you know, like we talked, it's like real estate in the moment. It's like, so if you look at, you know, the $400,000 house today is just as taxing on this generation as the $40,000 to $50,000 house was 40 years ago on my parents' generation. Like it's just, we've devalued the money. So it's like, it's really not any more expensive in any moment. Like it's always the same expensive. It's always overpriced. Like anytime that you buy real estate, it's always overpriced in that moment. But 10 years from now, you're going to look back and you're like, dude, I'm glad I bought that because I made a hell of a deal.
Not only that, you'll be pissed you sold it.
Yeah. Most, you know, you talk to most of the long-term real estate guys that sell stuff. And it's like, most of them will tell you, it's like, dude, I've never sold a property that I was glad I sold.
That's what I hear. So what about employees and helpers and other GCs that maybe don't know what you know, that maybe will join your squad and build for you? You need teams and helpers?
We'll need some teams and helpers coming into the next couple of years. Right now, I think we've kind of made our initial hires for next year already. So I think we've got our team in place moving forward. I do need a film and editing guy or girl or one of each, so that we can kind of crank out the personal brand a little bit more. We can get more content of the interaction that we have with the subcontractors on a daily basis. I think full transparency, showing people the process start to finish is
living
just what it is, right?
Yeah.
Like this, putting out the fires, having to deal with the problems, having to deal with things that go right, the things that go wrong.
So if I go follow you, that's the type of shit I'm going to see?
It's the kind of type of shit you're going to see. You'll probably see some other stupid shit on me ranting and raving on other shit, but
we won't see you drinking 24 beers.
No,
though.
you won't see me drinking 24 beers. I'll have a beer or two every now and then, but nothing.
Well, what you're going to do is be the content instead of try and make content alone.
Yeah.
That's a good motherfucking way to do it too. Folks, Brock Holyoak on Instagram. You can also go follow Oakmont Industries or go to oakmontind.com. So employees are shit out of luck. So what I always wrap it up with, what can the Bomb Squad do for you? Meaning, hey, you want to invest? Hit me up. Maybe I'll take some money. What would they make on average? You know, do you have a
It depends on the deal that we're doing. Like if you want to go in, like if you're higher level investors and you want to go in on, you know, a 100-unit apartment complex, it's like we just partner up and pool the money together, and everybody owns a portion of the LLC in what they're doing. So,
and if it's my money, I'm in the position of debt.
If you're pulling in all of the money, like you're funding the whole deal, it's like you get, you know, I'll take my builder fees as my portion going into the deal. And so I would have my, you know, 20% or whatever going into the property in equity. And then, you know, everybody would split their monies in equal portion as to how they fund it. And then we just own the LLC, and everybody gets the depreciation, everybody gets the appreciation, and everybody gets their part of the cash flow.
But you can't take unlimited funds. This podcast goes to a lot of people.
We can't take unlimited funds. And
are you set up for it right now?
We're set up for it right now. We can do probably Cedar City area. We could probably do 2 to 3 million. Mesquite, I'm working on some projects right now that are right around that 6 to 8 million. I got one single family project we're looking at in Mesquite that's 58 lots. They're going to run about 110 to 113 a lot. So we're looking at a little over 6 million to buy that out.
That ain't a lot of dough.
I've got 100-door property that I haven't dove into yet because it just got listed like a week ago and I just found out about it. So I've got to dive into what they want, the cost of, you know, doing the horizontal build out, and then what it's going to cost to go vertical. That one, I think you're probably looking at 10 million. 10 to 12
collectively, million. All the things you just said is not even $30 million.
Yeah.
Then you could fund that when the episode drops.
Let's do it.
Well,
I mean,
here's my
it's
question.
not a ton of
are
money, but-
are you set up for it?
Yeah, we could. I mean, I could crank both of those projects out and we could get rolling. I mean, the development part is at the mercy of the building applications and the approvals to the building department.
Do you need accredited investors though? Because you can't just take any Joe Blow's money.
Well, we don't necessarily need a credit. I would like it to be accredited investors so that we know that they're financially secure. I don't necessarily need it because either we structure it to where you come in as a debt position so that you're almost acting as a bank at that point. And or we structure it to where everybody's a partner on it. And so
so it's almost like you don't even do this if you like a normal thing. You're just willing to.
Yeah. If you do it like a Cardone venture, it's like that all goes into a fund and then he funds the deals that he wants to do. And you just get what you're saying, a small portion, and he makes.
So you're willing to really partner up with these people.
Like we're genuinely looking for partnerships of people that want to come in and own these things long-term and have a stake in the game. And it's like,
well, I don't want to own them long-term, but what I want to do is I want to throw you X amount of dollars. Let's say it's $100,000. And then 3 months later, give me my option. I love the option because what if something comes up? I need my money back. I don't like having it be gone as long as you decide it's gone.
Yeah.
So throw $100,000 in, boom. I know 3-4 months from now, I can get my 100 G's back plus another 15. So like on average, what would it be? 15
percentage wise?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right around 12 to 15 is generally what we're at.
Yeah. So I throw you $100,000, 3-4 months later, I get my $100,000 back and my 12. And if I want to roll again, I do it again.
If we're closer to that $400,000 price point on the product, then move a little quicker. And so you're going to make the volume more on that. But to make it make sense on my numbers, I think we're going to be closer to that 12, 13. If you're kind of in that 450 range, you're probably going to get closer to 15. So depending on the product that you fund, like would kind of depend on the percentage that you make. And then how many that you're funding to would also.
Well, do you have them ready to go so I can be like, how many you got?
I've got probably 20 lots that we could line up right now and close next week.
But in other words, like, because if I'm listening to this, I'm like, well, I got $100,000 just sitting in the bank earning, nothing.
Yeah.
I'll give them $100,000. So what does that get me? Well, I need 121 or $100,000 will get you this. 200,000 will get you that.
So yeah, like $100,000, like right now, $100,000 gets you a lot, basically any lot in Cedar City right now.
Is it 81 or is it 100?
We could, yeah, some of them are like in the 85s, right? So it's like, but generally if you could come in with just say a flat 100,000 and then we would just pay you that 12 to 15% on that $100,000.
But you'll build it. So I don't need to sign for the loan or nothing.
So you wouldn't need to sign for the loan. You just sign a trust deed with us that gets recorded at title so that you go into the debt position and we're ready to rock and roll.
Who owns that property if I buy it?
It's titled through Desert Valley or Oakmont Industries. It's titled to.
But so it would be titled to you.
It would be titled to me.
Now
it would be titled in my company name, but then you would be secured as the debt holder on it. So that's why I said, so you actually act as a bank lending the money on that property.
I love that. See, dude, I'll tell you, I'll do a couple with you. I already know that I will. So I like that plan. And because I told you, I like my money back quick.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only going to be a little bit. I'll get my money back if I want it. But you always think you're going to need it and then you never do.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like, I don't want to give it away for so long. But if I have the option, deal by deal. So I go, okay, there's one. Then you go build it. And I go, damn, it worked. There's another one. Okay, well, shit, here's 3. Okay, shit, here's 5. Well, shit, I'm giving you all my money. And then eventually you'll say,
tell you, I can't take all of that.
Yeah, so I can't keep going. And then I'll be like, damn, let's go find something else.
Or we just go do a bigger deal in an area that makes sense. It's like, the markets that we build single family homes in right now, like they're not markets that would support, 100 or 200 unit apartment complex, but we could come to Vegas and do that deal, and it supports it all day long.
Well, will your crew come down though? Because
Yeah,
all your crews and processes have to follow.
yeah.
You're that close with those?
We're that close. We got it. Most of them drive anyway. Like they drive, most of my guys are out of St. George. They drive 45 minutes to Cedar or 45 minutes to Mesquite. So it's like, what's an extra 45 minutes?
Yeah. All right, folks. Hey, pay attention. If you guys, if you like that conversation and you want to make some dough, hit him up. If you're in the business and you think there's some sort of, affiliation there, hit him up. But if you're not and you don't care, just go follow him, Brock Holyoak, just like it sounds, because this dude's a character. He's going to be dropping all kinds of content from now on. And I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
Folks, until next time, keep it real.